Relax and get loose while I put you up on game. The Figure Booth with Josh and Nate. This that podcast folk. Those in the know. Batman vs. Iron Man. How would it go? We talking one of a kind. Collectibles. Mezco toys are respectable. It's unacceptable if it's not in the packaging. Nate don't take pics if you ain't rapping it. Nate's dirty tricks are always happening. But damn it, man, don't you be stressing. Round here we believe in plastic confessions. We trying to figure out the figures that's gonna stand the test of time. That G.I. Joe handmade hit me in the spine. There's perfection in the way that these toys are made. But I also wanna know, do I pick Wade or Slade? So this is where I come to kick it with the guys. The Figure Booth. Like, comment, and subscribe.
And welcome back to the Figure Booth here, where we talk about the modern day collector and the ups and downs that they face. We go over pre-orders, we share our weekly hauls known as Plastic Confessions, and from time to time we do interviews with those in the toy community. I'm your host, Josh, aka Prime to the First, and I'm joined by none other, Nate, figurefan_Nate. Oh my goodness, it's been such a good and a long time that I was super rusty.
Welcome back indeed. It's been a long time. We've missed you guys. I know some of you have missed us. But yeah, we're back at it. And this name, the episode name is pretty fitting. Back to School, episode 86.
Man, yeah, it's so funny because as I was hearing our intro song, I forgot our intro, and I was like, "Wait, what's my IG name?
What's
Nate's
again?
IG name? What am I supposed to figure? Who is he? Finger flocked, all the other names that I mean, it's just crazy. Our summer break was kind of long,
Yeah, Nick.
Oh yeah,
Nick Neckers, Booty Rangers, Nate's
so
Nards,
yeah,
Booth Brigade, Primes Privates. We appreciate all you guys. It's been a while. I think our last episode was the end of April, so it's been almost 4 months since we've recorded last.
Wow,
which is a little crazy to admit. I got to be honest. When we first talked about stepping away, we were like, oh, we'll see how it goes. And then just life gets in the way, things happen. And then we ended up being away a little bit longer, I think, than maybe we originally thought, but that's just the way things happen. We've talked about it in prior episodes that your personal life comes first. Things that happen in your personal life come first. The hobby, like collecting, even things like the podcast, comes second. And so sometimes you've got to make those hard decisions where you're like, I don't think I can devote myself to this right now. I've got a lot going on. I got to step away. And that's kind of what happened with us.
Yeah. No, and no, you're absolutely right. It is what happened with us, kind of unplanned. And sometimes things happen for better, for worse. And, I'll share this and it'll be like a high overview of it. And hopefully and gradually as we get back to it, and we get back to our consistency, we can talk more about it. And I don't know, like maybe not necessarily make it a reoccurring theme, but let's not forget to keep that light on that topic. And it was hard because I think there's a lot of us that really deal with this on a day-to-day basis because there's such a taboo on it, or a lot of times if you're going through this, you feel like you're the only one. You feel some sort of type of way when you reach out for help. And so I went through like this crazy, like just super stressful event where it was literally, I don't know. I when I think about it, I almost can't even fathom what type of state of mind I was really in, because it was almost like standing on the edge of a swimming pool, and like all I needed was just like a gentle push to like tip me one way or the other, and I was like ready to punch my ticket. Like I couldn't really care, and I don't necessarily know what exactly took me to that place. But there was like a lot of factors that took that. It was just the perfect timing. Like this happened and that happened. It was some stuff with my day job, some stuff with my personal life, some stuff with just things that go on internally with us. And that day, I remember we were going back and forth, and we were getting ready to record. I think it was like a Wednesday.
We were talking about the episode for the week.
Yeah. So and that's the thing. Like I was completely fine. I was like, oh yeah, we're gonna do this, but then it's like a flip of a switch where I don't know. It's like someone drops like a bucket of cold water, and then you're like, you know what? nah, I think I'm done. Like, just pull the plug. Like, I don't care. And that's the crazy part, because you find yourself in this place where like nothing matters. Everything is irrelevant, and you're like, I'm done with it. Like, my collection does, that's the least of it. But then it's like
Yeah,
bigger
yeah.
things, like your family doesn't matter, your loved ones don't matter. And it sounds selfish, but when you're in that state of mind, and it was challenges, because I kept finding myself in that, and I was going and seeking that help and stuff like that. But a lot of the frustrating points was when people do reach out, and especially if you've never been in those shoes, they always say like, oh, what about your family? Think about your kids, or think about your significant other, or think about your dog, like think about this. But a lot of times I found myself saying like, well, yeah, I can think about all those people, but what about me? Like, I can think about my kids, but when do I find the time to think about me?
Right.
Um, so
Which is really important.
yeah,
We've talked about this before on the show, but mental health is extremely important. I think a lot of people like yourself, they put themselves last.
yeah,
I've got other things going on in my life. This is, I'm going to worry about my own state of being
yeah,
last. And then all of a sudden it creeps up on you and it hits you like a ton of bricks, and you kind of just lose all
yeah.
motivation, all drive. You're like, I'm done. I just don't care anymore. You know?
Yeah, you're absolutely right. And I think it could be like a state of denial. Like, at least for myself, it was like a state of denial where I was like, nope, that's not me. I'm not that type of person. But then at the end of it, there is no type of person. We
Right.
all struggle with insecurities. We all struggle with being our own worst critics. Like, every single human being struggles with some type of expectation that we set for ourselves, whether it's our environment, or that whole nature versus nurture. There's so
Mhm.
many factors that go into our state of mind, that on a day-to-day basis, like, some days are really good, some days aren't so good. So for me, it was just I think really acknowledging that I was in this long state of denial, and I just didn't either want to dedicate the time to do a lot of self-care, or just like, hey, I'll get to that later because I am so busy. So in a nutshell, like, that was crazy. It was just it took me away from everything, and then, man, it was just insane. It was a real eye opener. Been places where I've never thought I've been, but then it also shed light on, like, being in those type of, for lack of better, institutions.
Mhm.
Man, the patient does not, at least where I went to, the patient was not the top priority. Like,
Mm.
per minute there, I was like, where am I? Am I in Arkham Asylum? Like, what is going on? It was unfortunate, because I did run into a lot of really interesting people, and you hear their stories, and that really, I don't know, it drew the compassion out of me. I was really able to empathize with them, and we built some really great relationships where I was like, man, like, you have it so much harder, or your story has been much more challenging, yet you're much more uplifting than I was at that time.
Mhm.
So it was just great. It gave me a really good sense of perspective on, hey, at the end of the day, it's you always got to find a way to get back up and fight.
Yeah. Obviously I'm glad to be back here. I'm glad to, see you, Prime.
Yeah,
It's silly, but it's true. There's so many people that are going through so much stuff, and they just don't, they might be, they're afraid to talk about it, or they don't want to
yeah,
involve others, that type of thing. That's why it's so important for us as a community to stay united and to stay connected to each other. And, if
yeah,
you haven't heard from someone for a while, check in on them, or if you've seen that somebody's posting stuff in their story where maybe like, oh, I'm having a hard time, or, you've got quotes that are sort of telling you, okay, maybe this person's going through something. And some people don't even really broadcast it. They just kind of go dark.
yeah,
Um,
yeah,
but it's just, I can't say it enough. Mental health is so important for people to focus on. And we get so consumed with ourselves and kind of the things that frustrate us, like, oh man, that guy cut me off, and I didn't get this figure because this scalper came to the store and stole it from me. But there's bigger things going on in life other than figures and the community. There's the personal well-being is huge. So yeah, I mean, be there
yeah.
for your
And
friends and go ahead.
it's crazy because it did put a light on everything. Like, not that it made collecting completely irrelevant. And I was like, F figures, like, I'm done with it. Instead, it
But
kind of
yeah.
gave me more appreciation. It just, like, kind
Mhm.
of I mean, the best way I can wrap it up or sum it up is like, it just kind of humbled me to be like, you know what? I don't have to get every single figure that's out there, which it was never the case, but I don't have to try as hard to get every single pre-order or be the first one on there. Or even if I don't, let's say there is a figure I want to get and I don't get it, it's not going to be the end of the world, because there's going to be another figure in a week or two that's just going to be just as cool. And it might not be like, I don't know, just to not be so obsessed with my collection, and to also keep at the forefront that human connection that's out there. Because even through STC, like, somebody hooked me up with being able to get me an exclusive from there, and that type of stuff like that is really genuine. I truly appreciate that. And some of you out there did reach out where you noticed that I wasn't posting as much, and that to me, I completely appreciate it, because then I was, they took my phone away and I was like completely off the radar, completely just me and a couple books for like 2 weeks. And then after that, I was so used to it, I was like, oh, I don't need none of this stuff. And I was completely off social media for almost about a month. And that felt kind of good. It was a good reset button for myself mentally.
Yeah.
But
You get so
a lot
wrapped
of
up
it
in
is like, you do get wrapped up into it. But like, I think you touched upon it where you said, it is a sense of pride where some of us that are going through it, we don't want to say anything because it may make us feel like we're weak or so. And I think I wanted to take advantage of our platform and just shed some light and be like, hey, if someone like myself, I'll speak for myself, is going through this, like, we can relate to it. Like, if you tell yourself that you're not alone. There's hundreds of us that are going through it on a day-to-day basis. Some days are good, some days are not so good. But just keep showing up every day. Keep showing up.
Right. Yeah, exactly, man. I couldn't agree more. And, some people are wondering maybe why we didn't give so much information about what was going on. We tried to, put a post on our Instagram. Hey, we're going to be stepping away. We didn't really know when we were going to come back. That's why we didn't really post a return.
Or if I was going to come back.
If we were ever going to come back, that was,
No,
that was part of the discussion. Are we ever going to come back? Does it make sense to,
like, are they going to let Prime out? He might not even come back.
No, I knew they were going to let you out. But like, when you think about, hey, Prime's going through this thing that's really tough mentally, something like a podcast becomes such a low priority in your life. It's just like, that's, I told him many times even before that, like, hey, if this doesn't work, then it doesn't work. That's just the way it is. I think some people kill themselves to produce content every week and to chase those numbers. And we want more subscribers, of course. We want more exposure. We want to be more consistent, but in reality, it just doesn't always work that way. And my well-being and Prime's well-being are really the most important thing. And if that means we got to step away for 4 months, then that's just what we're going to do. It's just people have a hard time understanding that. Well, don't you guys care about your audience? Of course we do. But that comes second in life. I'm sorry to say, if you're listening and you think you're the first thing in my life, it's just not true. It's just not the way it is. And that's not how it should be for anyone. On Instagram shouldn't be the first thing that brings you happiness. Toys, it's great. It's an awesome hobby. But to your point, kind of stepping away from it a little bit, maybe I lost a little interest in just collecting. I'm still collecting, don't get me wrong, but it's just not, I don't have maybe as much passion. Just giving some updates for me, maybe why that is I've started going back to school for my MBA. Not something that I was really planning on doing, but I found out that I can get some assistance through my work. And I decided, why the hell not? I'm going to do it. But holy crap, it's a lot of work. It's constant. So, that's been really prioritizing my time lately. And I'm sure some of you out there have noticed that I've been really cutting back on my posting, really just from lack of time. That's the posting, the toy photography is still something I'm very passionate about. It's just kind of taking a back seat right now, making sure that school is coming first, that type of thing. So that's sort of what I've been focusing on during this time, doing that, school, things in my personal life that are going on. I'm going to try to get back to toy photography as much as I can. And I have been collecting. You can see I've sort of switched up my display a little bit. I've got some new stuff. Me and Prem will go through some of the things that we've been getting lately as some of our plastic confessions as part of the normal episode. But just not to minimize what Prime's saying, that mental health is so so important.
Yeah.
Put yourself first, people. Don't put yourself last.
And here's like the silver lining, and I'll add it as a caveat to us coming back, is it gave us like a fresh perspective and a different type of lens on how we're going to approach the podcast, because also being so consistent with providing the content, we do feel like, oh, this is really reoccurring, or have we said this? Have we had this discussion already? We don't want to be a rerun. So it was good for us to kind of like step away for that. And obviously it was unplanned for that long. But then once we did and we started talking again, and I'm like, you know what? I'm feeling better. And I know you were super supportive and just like really like, hey, if we don't have to do this, we can just talk amongst ourselves. But I also didn't want to be another collector that maybe had gone through it. And I'm sure there's plenty of collectors out there that have shed light on this, but not from my inner circle. Like, one that really stood out to me that's always been consistent is X-Manny87 and then Grumps. Those two have always done a great job of just shedding light on like mental health and like Just Jay too, right? Like taking breaks, and he's just like, hey, take care of yourselves. Those three have always been like kind of pillars in my eyes to really remind us that to take care of ourselves. So I was like, you know what? I'm going to take a page out of their book and just really put my voice out there too for the audience that listens to us, and let them know like, hey, you're not alone. And man, it's just crazy because again, going through that, like one, I walked out, I got some takeaways, and I was like, I wanted to do more, be more involved within that community of those individuals. And again, it's not necessarily just toy collectors, but it's just human beings that are going through that, because being in that, seeing how some of those people were being treated, and just this like, I don't know, it's like this relationship where it's there's a huge power struggle. And where I was at, the so-called psychiatrist treated the patients like crap, like really bad, where like the staff was really good, staff was amazing, they were really empathetic, but the psychiatrists are like on power trips or had been there too long. The guy I got, obviously he had been there way too long. He sat with me for 5 minutes and he's like, oh yeah, you got A, B, and C, this is what you're gonna take, like buttload of pills, like just so much stuff that like that doesn't work, they put you on something else, that doesn't work. It was just like medicine after medicine after medicine. So it was crazy. And you feel to a certain extent like you have no say. Like I couldn't say like, nope, I'm not gonna take it, or yes, you can, and they just keep you there longer. It was a horrific experience. But I came out and I'm like, well, okay, what's the change that I can be? How can I have some type of impact? And I've been doing a lot of volunteering and going to like group therapy where you hear other people's stories, because that is really what helped me, is just hearing everyone else's stories. That kind of reminded me like, hey, you know what? You're not the only one, and people have, it's obvious, but people have like some really crazy stuff, but then yet they're still there. And to me, that was very uplifting. Like, man, you had it tough and you're still showing up, and how positive they were, or how they turned it around. They were doing more, more, they were, signed up to coach their little league. Like, this one guy, he was the baseball coach, and all these amazing, great stories. And I'm like, wow, there's so much good stuff out there, where then I turn around and I'm like, my collecting's not that great or not that important as I thought. But then what can I do with it? How can I have an impact within that community and remind those collectors? Because I'm sure there's a ton of us, a lot of us are very introverted, or we keep to ourselves and we're just in our silos, And you see posts, whether it's on a Facebook group or whatever, you'll see sometimes some random posts where it's like this guy living in the jokes, the guy living in his mom's basement. But at the end of the day, that's pretty sad. Like, I don't want for someone to feel like they're the only ones, like,
Right.
Yeah.
Yeah. And like you said, it is sad, but people, I think maybe from lack of understanding, tend to poke fun at that.
Right.
Or they kind of laugh at it like, oh, what a loser. It's like,
right.
What is that? Maybe just think about it for a second. What's that person? And I know we've talked about this before, and to Prime's point, we want to keep providing episodes that are different, because that's a lot of the feedback we've been getting from you guys is, I love how you guys talk about other stuff other than the toys.
Right.
And that's always been a main focus of our podcast. So just like when we're coming back, me and Prime talked about it, and it's like, hey, do you want to talk about what went on with you? Is that something that you want to discuss?
Yeah.
And it's probably a touchy subject for him, and I understand why. It's not easy to talk about. It's difficult to talk about. But the fact is, there's so many people going through stuff like that: anxiety disorders, post-traumatic stress disorder, obsessive compulsive disorder, panic disorders, generalized anxiety, phobias, depression, bipolar depression. I mean, you name it. There is so much out there that does not get talked about that people, and I'm sure a large portion of the community is dealing with on a daily basis, that either they're afraid to talk about it due to being judged or looked at a certain way, or they feel like they're alone in the world and there's nobody that can relate. But, if this tells you anything, at least me and Prime are here for you guys if you're struggling out there. Hopefully you guys have other resources and other people that you can talk to and discuss your issues with, because it's important to talk about it. If you're listening to this, you're like, this kind of resonates with me a little bit. I'm going through some of that myself. You need to talk to somebody. You really do.
For sure.
Don't try to battle it yourself.
That's the best advice. That the minute I got taken out of my environment and placed with a bunch of strangers, it's crazy how much you open up when you know, oh, this person does not know me whatsoever. So a lot of times you can relate even more because they're sharing their story with you, and like for myself, I was like, okay, well, I can't judge you because I don't know you, so I'm just listening to you. I'm just here, I'm just listening to you, and like no judgment. I'm not even giving you advice. A lot of times they would tell me the whole story, and they're like, oh, do you think I handled that right? And I'm like, I don't know. What do you think? They're like, oh, I could have done this. I could have done that better. But then that's why I'm here. And I'm like, oh, well, at least it sounds like you're taking all the right steps. And they would be like, yeah, you know what? You're right. And then that's it. Like that would be our conversation. And they'd be like, well, what's going on with you? Then I would tell them, they're like, oh, at least you're here, you're safe. But it's just you build so much rapport where I was like, damn, this is really healing. And that's how you find a lot of resources again when you're not taking the initiative to be in that community or put yourself out there and looking for those type of resources. Like I was really astonished. I know like there's like the national 1-800 numbers and all this stuff, but sometimes like the face-to-face or even just Googling it and looking up in my local area, I found that there was a sufficient amount of resources where they do provide a lot of free stuff where you just show up. They do workshops or they do like a lot of volunteer work and just simple volunteer work. Just 2 weeks ago, I helped out at a food bank, and just that, like it had nothing to do with it, but just me being at a food bank, that made me feel a whole lot better. Like, it's those type of just going back to the basics and just, being there for another individual that's going and has it much more challenging than I do.
It puts things into perspective, right? Like, hey, I thought I had it bad, but man, this guy's got it real bad. Or not obviously taking away from what you went through. It's just more of, it kind of helps put things in perspective a bit. Like there's a lot of people going through a lot of shit, maybe worse, maybe less worse than what I'm doing. The fact is though, we need to be here for each other, and sometimes volunteering to help with stuff like that, like doing volunteer work, really kind of opens your eyes. Like it's bigger than just yourself. And I think we all get so used to just talking about ourselves and what we're dealing with. And, I need to do this and I'm not getting enough of this or whatever the case is. I'm not getting enough likes on my post. That's the just smallest thing about it.
Such a breath of fresh air, just stepping away, doing the volunteer work, attending the group therapy, even doing some virtual classes online. Because there's still some services that due to COVID, they do just like virtual sessions. So that way more people can attend. And even some people are like really open. They share their story. And I'm like, dang, like that's the fact that they make you have like the video on. That's, some people get nervous, but again, it was really cool. You build rapport with these people. Then, a course that I took, it was like 6 weeks long. And it was cool. Everyone did their check-in and just kind of your highs and lows. And again, there's so much to learn that the best advice was just that advice that you keep hearing over and over. Like, hey, if you need someone to talk to, like definitely reach out to somebody. It doesn't matter who, reach out to somebody and talk to somebody.
Yeah. I mean, mental health conditions have a substantial effect on pretty much every area of your life, like school, work, relationships with family, relationships with friends, your kind of ability, and then your really desire to participate in community stuff. You kind of just want to be self-contained, isolated, so those are, I guess, warning signs for us as friends of people that may be going through stuff. Like just try to think about outside of yourself for a little bit and be like, hey, have I heard from him in a while? Or maybe why haven't I heard from him? Are they doing okay? Just a simple text like, hey, I'm here for you if you need me. Sometimes they might go unread, or that person might see it, but I guarantee you it means something to them. They just might not want to say it to you,
For sure.
So
and again, there was so many layers to it. It was like there was so many stuff that was going on, and some of it's still going on because others, like, without getting too much into it, there's still other stuff that I'm gonna have to deal with, which now I don't let it stress me out because there's nothing I can do that can change that. But it's like that type of stuff, that's what I'm gonna have to live with, and it is what it is. So I'm like, okay, it's not that bad. Like there's a way around it, and I'll just deal with it. So yeah, I mean, hey, I showed up.
Yeah, and hey, man, I applaud you for that. We're here, we're showing up, and that's one step into the right direction, right?
There you go.
That's what we're really trying to do, just call awareness to the problem. And right now, what I've been seeing, the state of the economy, the way things are, people are really hurting right now. There's a lot of people that are really struggling. Things are more expensive than they were last year. People tend to have less money than they did last year. I've been seeing a lot of hate, a lot of anger out there in the community, and not just in the toy community, but you scroll through TikTok, you'll find probably 5 to 6 videos of people like going at each other. It's
That's
dangerous.
why I wore my Hydra hat.
Yeah. Yeah, he's part of the evil organization, the Hydra. But it's true, man. There's a lot of anger out there right now, it seems.
Yeah.
And it's scary because you don't know who you're really dealing with. And I think people make assumptions about who people are, and that can backfire and, end up just getting in some kind of random fight with a stranger. That's not good.
Oh man,
you don't know.
It's crazy. I've seen that in the last 2 days, and the minute I see that, it like totally just like reminds me. I'm like, you know what? Just compassion. She's probably having a hard. Like I saw some major road rage just yesterday. She got out of her car and got into it with the guy next to me, and I was just like, she looks like she's having a hard day. Like who knows? Like maybe she's running late, or maybe she just got fired, or whatever it is. I'm gonna give her a pass. And like she was holding up traffic or whatnot. People were honking at her. She started flipping off everybody, and I was just like, I'm like, do you need a hug? Like I felt like telling her, do you need a hug? But I stayed in my car. But then she got back in, and like she drove off like a maniac. But yeah, no, people are intense right now. People are intense.
Yeah, and I know this is maybe a more serious episode, and people are like, all right, enough with the doom and gloom already.
Yeah. We'll get to it. We'll get to it.
It's the way we got to address why we were gone. We didn't want to just ignore it. And there's things that we're really dealing with, and even as we come back, I don't think we're going to be back in full form like you guys might think. I think one of the things, and this is something I've requested because of my school schedule, is like, hey, we got to probably come back in limited fashion, at least for the episodes, trying to do 2 episodes a month instead of the normal 1 episode every week. Maybe as time goes on, we'll be able to increase that. But for me and dealing with school, that's all I'm willing to commit to right now. I'm just trying to be upfront. I'd rather put that out there in the beginning than try to struggle to meet the daily or the weekly episodes and then realize I can't do that. And maybe I should have just set that precedent up from the beginning. So being honest with you guys as an audience and honest with Prime as a co-host, that's all I can commit to right now. But, it's because I'm trying to focus on other things in my life, trying to better myself in certain ways. And that, if you have a problem with that, then I'm sorry, guys. You're just going to have to deal with it. Right now, that's my focus. That's what I'm trying to do. But just keep in contact with your friends, make sure that you are reaching out to them, try not to spread hate. It's too easy to do through the internet and through social media. Just think about really what you're doing when you're saying those things, who you're really affecting, because it can have a huge impact on people. As far as schedules, like I talked about, I'll just reiterate it again. We're going to do episodes twice a month now. So bi-weekly, we're going to do episodes. I think Prime and me are going to try to do lives, but one of our lives, instead of doing regular Motivation Mondays, we're probably going to do more random lives. Prime might jump on with someone else, or if I have time, I might jump on with someone else, or we're going to try to do them together. But just to give you guys more frequency in our content, you're going to see that our schedule is a bit different than when it was before, but we're really just trying to adapt to what we need in our lives right now. And that's what's going to work best for us. And as time goes on, it might change. But I just want to put that out so you guys are aware. Hey, I don't see an episode every week. What's going on? If you didn't listen to this episode, you probably don't know what's going on. So if you've got friends that are asking you, maybe tell them to come back and check us out. And, obviously one of the things we do is we want to grow. And I say that as we're saying limited content, but growth has been kind of a concern with us because since our inception, we haven't grown maybe as much as we've wanted to.
We've been in cold water the whole time.
Yeah, we've kind of been in cold water and just not really heating up. And, obviously we appreciate all the subscribers that we have, but spread the word. If you have friends that maybe aren't subscribed and you want to get more of this content, that means a lot to us. That tells us you guys want us to come back. You guys want some more content, and we're going to try to grow that as much as we can. As we've been gone, we've been seeing a lot of awesome updates from the community. So I want to make sure we recognize that. Huge shout out to Wade from Unparalleled Universe for funding his Kickstarter.
Yeah, that was crazy.
It's freaking amazing.
Good job for him.
He's been talking about ODS since I've started watching him, and I'm sure a lot of you guys.
I can't get him to stop talking about ODS. All right, it's enough.
I'm sure a lot of you guys probably watched Wade a lot more, and maybe in the past more than I have. I've discovered him since starting this podcast.
You're not missing out much. It's okay. You're not missing out.
It's awesome to see stuff like that happening for people.
I'm glad you brought that up because he's been talking about ODS for such a long time. That was like his vision, right? Yeah. From I remember his long time. If you've been a Tuesday crew, he's always just kind of shared his vision where it was a comic book and action figure, and to actually make it and fulfill it. But the crazy part to me was we would see other supporters, which was awesome, posting his link, and especially when we got towards the end where he was so close to making it, right? And I would see the posts in different groups. It was all on Facebook. But then the comments, there were so many people just oh, I hope he doesn't make it. Oh, it's trash. Why would you? He's a fellow collector. Why are you bashing a fellow collector? If you don't like it, then just don't fund it. There is no need to pull him down. He's trying to fulfill his dream. Is that more coming from a place that you're envious that he's following his dream and maybe you're not following it? I could not get it. I would see so many comments like that, and I'm like, what the hell? Why all the bashing on because he's close? And then when he made it, I remember when he did make it, someone posted where are all the haters at? And it was I did want to start going back. I wanted to go back to some of those posts and tag those people and be like, hey, what do you got to say now? Put your money where your mouth is. Right. And that to me, that's come on, we can't thrive in a community like that where someone takes the guts to, it's not easy task. Get people together, reach out. I'm sure Wade did a lot of work behind the scenes, spending long nights talking to, who he needed to talk to really know. And then for what? For someone to just start hating on him that, to me, that didn't make any sense. Instead of being hey, kudos, you took a risk that I wouldn't normally take. Just admit that it was hard work, and the hard work is what scared you.
Right. Yeah. There's really no need to hate on something like that. Yeah. It's one thing to dislike something, and we're all entitled to our opinions. Yeah. I'm not saying that you can't say that you don't like the figure that he's making. Right. Maybe we don't like it. But
that's totally
to say that you want this guy to fail is an evil thing to say, and it just doesn't make a lot of sense. The guy's in the toy community. He's been supporting the toy community for a really long time with his video reviews, and maybe some people don't really understand what that really takes, but it takes a lot of effort, a lot of work. Yeah. He does his lives. He's from the community that we're all a part of. So why wouldn't you want to see that become successful?
Yeah.
Because that's more opportunities for all of us.
Yeah.
If it's not successful, then it's not the end of the world. But for people to go out of their way to say, I hope this fails, I was really surprised by how much hate there was.
Yeah. And it's across a lot of Kickstarters where, to me, those type of collectors, they hate on the individuals taking the risk, whether you're doing your Kickstarter for your figure or for whatever it is, or they jump on the manufacturers, the big companies, NECA, Hasbro, you name it, and they bash on them too. Oh, the price is too high, or oh, the paint QC, or it has quality issues. You name it, fill in the blank, and that's what they complain. They always have something to complain about. And I'm that niche of complainers or of collectors, those right there, we just, I don't know, we need to do something with them.
Yeah. Seriously, I don't know what it is, but something needs to happen. It goes back to our haters episode, take all that stuff with a grain of salt, because to Prime's point, the hate's probably coming from envy. I want to be successful like this. I want to have my own figure. This guy doesn't deserve it. I deserve it. But you're not putting in the work. He is. So until you have something that you can compare and to throw out on the market, maybe just keep your opinions to yourself. And if you don't like it, that's fine, but don't go and start spreading hate. Just congratulate the guy. Say, hey, great job. I'm happy for you. That's awesome. You don't have to show your support by spending money, you know. That doesn't mean that you're not a good person by not backing the Kickstarter. You can show your support in other ways by sharing it in your story, things like that. There's been other Kickstarters out there. I've been trying to keep up to date as much as I can on everyone. That's the one that just comes to mind. So huge congrats. I know we never really had an episode to really congratulate him, but we really just want to make sure that we express how happy we are for Wade that happened. It's really cool. But yeah, we've been seeing a lot of you guys. You know, I've been watching content in the background. You know, STCC, I was very envious of a lot of you. That seemed like it was a lot of fun. A lot of really cool figures came out of STCC. I hope I can make it next year. We'll see. You know, maybe we'll try to get some press badges through Figure Booth if we can grow a little bit more.
We'll make them. We'll make them ourselves. We'll just show up.
Yeah. Hey, give us your extra badge. You're not going in there for 2 hours? Okay, well, we need to use that. But yeah, it was cool, man, to see all of that from STCC and just people really getting together. That's a big part of it. We got Legions Con coming up this year. Unfortunately, I won't be going to that anymore. I've got a friend that has a wedding coming up, and it's right on that same weekend. So if you're wondering if I'm going to be there, unfortunately, I won't be there.
Oh, and here I was about to go, remember?
I know, you were.
Yeah. Freaking jerk.
I know. I think I felt really bad because Grumps was like, hey, you're going to Legions Con, right? Can't wait to meet you. And I was like, oh, man, I'm sorry. I'm actually not going. So I hate to let people down like that, but it's the way life is. You know, it's like we've been showing for this last year. Things happen that are unexpected, and you just got to wheel and deal. But it's not the end of the world. I'll still be supporting from afar.
Yeah.
And we've been collecting too, you know, in the time off. Maybe I've been slowing down a bit, but I have been collecting a lot. I know Prime has as well. I think he's getting a little bit of a bug, some kind of toddy bug.
Did there.
Yeah.
I got one bug.
Yeah. Blue beetle bug from a certain creator of action figures.
It's like I don't want to, but I shake my head walking up to the register.
We used to give Toddy Mac so much shit on this show, but who's become a huge supporter of Toddy Mac?
Hey, I don't know about huge. Like, whoa, it's not huge, huge.
Bigger supporter of Toddy Mac.
Bigger, definitely. It's I like. There's a part of me that wants to just cry, like, I don't want to. But it's cool. They're cool, and secretly, like I just throw the cashier the money and just like run out.
Well, what is it?
Put it in a black paper bag.
What's been attracting you to those figures? Like, what is it about them that you're like, you know what, I'm going to take a shot?
So, one was fucking J Figs. He's been posting a lot of like Blue Beetle stuff, J Figs, and then like like the big accounts like Mr. Lee and stuff, and he makes every single figure look cool. So with Mr. Lee, I was like, okay, taking it with a grain of salt because like whatever. But J Figs, he poses them really cool, and I'm like, damn, like those really McFarlane, you can get them like that. And then with the Dark Knight Batman that everybody was going gaga over, Just Jay got it. He did the infamous hand pick, and then you see this Dark Knight fig everywhere, and I'm like, really? It's that good? I'm like, no way. And then I reached out to Jay, and I'm like, really? It's that good? And he's like, yeah, dude, this is like, it moves. You can pose days. Obviously, there's like some cons about it, but minus the thigh swivel, like it's really good. Mm-hmm. And we go back and forth, and I was like, damn. And I forgot who else I was talking to, and they're like, yeah, dude, he's really. And then I'm like, all right, I'm trying to search for him. Of course, he's like sold out everywhere. And I was like, well, I'm not gonna pay second market price for a Toddy Mac. There's no way. Like, I'm not gonna pay over retail for a Toddy Mac. I'll just wait till he goes on sale. And yeah, no, I just couldn't find him. And then one day I just strolled in and happened to come across him. And it's these butterfly joints. Like, he has these butterfly joints now. The articulation has improved. They're not so ratchety, and the plastic doesn't feel as cheap. Like the last Toddy Mac before the ones I want to show off was a Flash. I bought a Flash, and granted, it was $8. So I was buying Toddy Mac figures, but I was not spending no more than $10 on them. So I bought this Flash, and it was like the cheapest. Like I almost threw them away, and I was like, nope, never again. I'm not buying a Toddy Mac figure unless it's like something I really need to have.
Mm-hmm.
But I got this Batman. So I got the Batman, and one, it's the classic colors.
Nice, yeah, the blue and gray.
Oh, this is the Batman I know.
Yes,
but these butterfly joints, man, they're smooth. Like and then the fact that the pegs, yeah, he's not seamless, but the pegs are the same color as his outfit. Like it's not like the Spider-Man on Marvel Legends where it's blue and then red on the other side. It's all gray. I don't know. It's just the articulation, the way he moves is vastly improved. And he's not in that predispositioned pose that Toddy Mac used to do. Mm-hmm. So you can kind of get him in any pose you want. So that surprised. That was like, okay, butterfly joints and they're smooth. That's a +1. He's not in this like action so-called pose. 2, I'm like, all right. And then the plastic feels really, really good. Paint apps are good. I'm all, yeah, that's 3 for 3. I was like, all right. Then I got the Blue Beetle. The Blue Beetle has like, again, these shoulder joints, they cover like the cuts, so you don't see like that shoulder joint.
Mm-hmm.
You can kind of hide it. So if you're posing it, if you want to take pictures with it, you can hide, so that way it looks like it's a seamless outfit. He doesn't look so much like a figure. And then he came with a bunch of hands.
The butterfly joints have been improved.
They made vastly improved.
That's kind of awesome.
That's what got me.
Yeah, one of the things that was one of my gripes when I was collecting, I tried some Toddy Macs, was the fact that they had lack of butterfly joints. They just couldn't move as well. And yeah, you're not spending a whole lot, but still, it's something that kind of rubs you the wrong way. Like it bothers me. So that's a huge improvement for something that stays at the same price point. They didn't charge more for the butterfly joints.
For now.
Oh, they're going up? Oh, crap.
They're going up. So, and then certain figures come with, like, this Blue Beetle, the gold edition. I don't know. You know how Toddy Mac does, like, so many editions. Well, this one, the gold label, he comes with a bunch of extra hands. So that's what I like. Nice. He came with a bunch of hands, and he came with, like, his cheesy gun that shoots out the beetle, and he came with the scarab. I just wished it would have been, like, a lenticular, or it looked like Lance, because this paint apps looks kind of suspect. Mm-hmm. Or, like, extra head sculpts, like a goofy one. Because this Blue Beetle, I don't know. I always think of him as being like a goofball, like some crazy expressions.
That's the classic suit, right?
Yeah, that's the classic suit.
Nice. And then which Batman is that?
Nightfall.
Nightfall. Okay, nice. Yeah. That one came out recently, I think.
Yeah. And then, last but not least, then I got this Batman.
Conan Batman. Now, that's Conan pretty awesome, actually.
Man,
I like that.
Same thing. He has those butterfly joints, and that's what I've been looking. I'm like, as long as I got those butterfly joints, like, it's a win. So, killer, man. And the cape is really like super soft. Like, it's not that hard plastic like from his previous. I think he's little by little he's listening, and also the cow. The cow is like really soft. Like,
nice,
super bendy.
More variety is what I've seen from McFarlane as well.
Still Batman. They're
still getting a lot of Batman, but a lot of other figures are being added in there as well. More variety, I think, than we were getting when the line first launched.
But my only gripe is just the scale. They're still like a little on the larger side. But now, like some of their newer releases, which I really liked, was Sinestro, and then like Hawkman. But they're $29.99. Like they're $30. I'm like, sorry, but I'm not paying $30 for. I'll just wait. He pumps out so much stuff. You can find them for a good deal. Like I was almost gonna buy a whole wave for like $60 because they were all like $10 or something.
Yeah, I think there's any line that you can wait on clearance is probably Toddy Mac, not because they're bad figures, but because the distribution is so high.
It's so heavy. Yeah.
Yeah, that a lot of the times that stuff you'll have extras in the store, and so they'll offer those up at a clearance price later on. So unless there's one that you're like, I gotta have it now.
Yeah.
It's probably not a bad idea just to wait and see if it goes on sale, or BBTS might put a sale out. I've been seeing a lot of that lately, a lot of summer sales going on, a lot of people selling figures right now.
Yeah.
So yeah, I'm glad that you've kind of found a newfound love for Toddy Mac, with all the shit that we've given him.
I know, but that's about it. Like I really, and the thing is, like, going through this, and now like his older figures, like the Clayface and Man-Bat, they've dropped in price. They were on sale. I think Man-Bat was like $25, and I'm like, I'll pick it up if it goes $19.99. I'll pick them up because I need some big villains for like my Mezco bats.
Mm-hmm.
But Clayface and Man-Bat are on my radar once they get a little bit cheaper. Because where else I need like we need a good Batman Rogues gallery, and we're not going to get a Clayface from Mezco or anything.
Those are the main Tawny Macs I think I've bought are some of the villains. Like I've got, you can see Doomsday kind of hanging out in there right now. That's a Tawny Mac. I've got a Swamp Thing that's Tawny Mac.
Yeah,
I think
he's good with those guys.
I got the Doo-Doo Clayface. He just looks like a pile of poop.
He does.
Yeah. Man-Bat, I don't think I ever picked up, but that's one of the ones I would go after. I think the bigger villains is the stuff that I typically collect from Tawny Mac, but I don't get a whole lot of it.
Yeah. And Man-Bat looks really good. Like Man-Bat looks good. Aside from like, there's obviously some like
some articulation kind of issues. Yeah, he's a little top heavy.
Yeah. So I'm just sitting on them. I'm keeping them on the cooler. But yeah, I'm surprised, dude. It's so funny. Dante's been giving me a bunch of crap because he's like, come on, I'm like, I know. Yeah. I'm like, I know. I'm sorry, man. I'm trying not to, but Jay Figs, man, he's been enabling me on picking up these figures. I gotta say, they're pretty good.
Some of the sometimes Jay Figs will post something and I'm just like, there's no way. Like,
right.
I saw one recently where it was two figures kind of balancing off each other, but one of them's in the air and the other one's kind of falling back. Yeah. It blew my mind.
Do that from time to time.
How the hell did he get that thing to balance like that?
Man, he must have the patience of.
But
I don't know.
That stuff sells figures, though. To Prime's point, you see somebody that like, oh shit, I didn't know it could move like that. Like, those are the kind of people that are selling the figures or doing some of the promotional. Even though they have a great team,
easily. Easily, if it would not been for him and Jay, I would have not bought the freaking Beetle or the Batman Nightfall because I kept seeing him, but I was like, nope, don't eat him. Nope, don't eat him. And I'm like, I really like those colors. Pass. It reminds me of that. And then I saw him at Walmart, and he was the only one there. Like he was up the top shelf, and I was like, huh, why did they put him up on top?
Nice. I've been getting other stuff too. I've talked about it for a long time, but they finally got delivered. Probably about maybe not a full month, but very recently. Talking about Cosmic Legions. I got Kragnar here.
What a beauty!
These figures are just like a work of art, man. They're so my camera doesn't really do it justice, but just so much detail, the sculpting, the paint work. It's just the uniqueness of the line is really what is attracting me to it. I got into Mythics pretty heavy, and then Cosmic dropped, and now my thought process is like, I think I might go with Cosmic more heavy than Mythic. I just really like the figures. I like the concept. Kragnar is amazing. I haven't shot any of them yet, so that's kind of on me. But you've got Vorga here, who's really cool. She's kind of like a space police officer. I don't have them all displayed right now.
Yeah.
Like Thygar, the colors on him are just incredible. He's just a really cool figure, different detail. I think it was just the uniqueness, Some people don't really understand the Mythic bug or the Legions bug, but for me, it's just I can't get this really anywhere else. There's nobody else that are making figures like this. And I'm a huge sci-fi guy, so for me, it just kind of hit all the buttons. I really like them. I need to get them behind the lens. I haven't shot anything in quite a while, but these are sort of on the docket for me. It's the Cosmic Legions, and if you guys aren't aware, they just put out a new pre-order for an upcoming wave. So I'm sure you guys have seen that out there, but that's going on now. If you want that new wave, it's up for pre-order. It's I think wave.
And it's less, 3. Right? It's like under 300. It's like $300.
Yeah, it's $300 for that wave. Let me see if I can just actually pull it up. We can look at it.
Here we go, guys. Welcome back. We're going down the rabbit hole.
Going right into it again. Thraxon, that's what it is. Book 1 Thraxon wave. It's $299 total, and you get 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7 figures. So yeah, less than like your normal Mythic Legions wave. But yeah, really cool figures. If you guys are on the fence, I definitely recommend that you check them out. I'm really liking them. There's something just totally different. You guys have seen a lot of these, but the Mirage Turtles, I could not resist getting the big bulky Cosmic Mirage and Cosmic.
And I remember when we talked about them,
Turtles.
Yeah. I was like, these are the turtles I want to get. But then once they came out, I was like, I can't get these. Like, I need this. And I'll show you. I picked up a bunch of other figures that I said I was going to stop picking up. I'm telling you, like, those turtles, though, I've passed on them twice. And both times I regret it a bit. I'm just like, they're cool. They're very cool.
They are really cool. They are very samey. You know, I think for people that maybe aren't crazy about turtles, you're like, they're basically the same figure over and over and over again. And that's not far from the truth. It's basically the same figure in 4 different forms. But I don't have anything in my turtle collection that looks like these guys with all the red bandanas, the comic style. I missed out on the original NECAs that came. So these were like a no-brainer. I've done one shot with Leo and Batman kind of meeting each other. It's another one, and you get more behind the lens. The Sinja Patrol Bots, I got some of those. These are amazing. NECA's articulation has really improved, much like Toddy Mac. I've seen that NECA articulation has really gotten better. Just wider range of movement, more fluid movement. I don't have the sticking problem that I used to have with a lot of my NECA figures. So that's a good thing. Yeah. And what else was I going to say? That's the main thing I think I was going to say. I haven't really been picking up a whole lot. I got Mezco Green Ranger.
Oh, you did?
Yeah.
Nice.
I mean, I've been slowing down a lot of my collecting, to be honest with you.
And I think the last time we were talking about like some lines that we were going to slow down, I was like, Joe's. I'm not going to do any more Joe's. I think I'm just going to like hold off between Joe's and Legends. I'm like, I think I'm going to, and I was thinking I'm going to go Mythic Legions and just Mezco. That was going to be it. And then, and then like my wife surprised me with a couple of them because September is my birthday month. So she snagged me Copperhead. Nice. And then she snagged me Sergeant Stalker, which I always want to say Sergeant Slaughter, but and again, Amazon had these on sale, so it was like pretty good price. And this guy is nostalgic because me and my younger brother had these all like in the 3.75. But then again, J Figs enabled me with Rock and Roll because I've seen him do like a wash on Rock and Roll.
Nice.
So I just love the tats.
You just can't beat those figures. They're so nice for the price point.
And then I got Torpedo, which this guy, I mean, we're going to get a scuba diving guy.
Scuba Steve.
Like, I like the fact that he has these cheesy flip. Yeah, of course. Who doesn't know Scuba Steve?
Okay.
And then Shipwreck.
Shipwreck, yeah, he's great. That reminds me of Count JC Malone. He used to do like drunken photos with Shipwreck. Yeah. It was great.
And then this was my like all-time favorite. Was Bazooka.
Oh yeah.
But man, the paint apps on this guy, like
so good.
Like this guy is, I don't know, he stands out of the rest. I was like, damn.
Yeah, the sculpt is really good.
Yeah, and then during SDCC, they revealed Stanley R and Mutt. Or what was the you call
Stanley R? Yes. I'm gonna have to get him just because I mentioned his name so many times. Stanley R.
I was like, oh my god, I gotta get him. I gotta get him. And then after that, like I was like, I've been getting Joe's like left and right, which I try not to, but they have been going on sale. Some of them have been going on sale, especially on Amazon and GameStop.
Distribution's been better. They seem to be more readily available, you know.
So yeah, Joe's, and then again, like I had mentioned that. Oh, sorry, I had mentioned the community came through, and if you know ADP Toys, got me Exclusive.
Angel, he's a great guy.
Yeah, living up to his name.
That Boy Gomez, sweet.
I told him, you're living up to your name, my dude. You came through. You're an angel.
He's like a guardian figure angel.
Guardian figure angel. So shout out to him. Thanks for scooping this up.
Yeah, that strike suit, Void Gomez, is really cool. We got the mech that's going to be coming sometime soon. I know there's some people waiting for that pre-order that hasn't been delivered yet. But yeah, that Gomez is awesome. One of my
Oh man, he's so much fun.
Yeah, he's one of my favorite kind of versions of Gomez because he's so different. The space, I was wondering when they're going to give us some kind of space style Gomez, and the fact they did it sort of Mork and Mindy classic 80s sort of space is really cool.
And really, when they were like showing them, I was like, nope, I'm not going to get them. Or I had said I'm not getting any more Gomez's after the Union 112, and then I picked up the Union because I remember like that's during everything that you helped me with acquiring that Union Gomez. Got him, and I was like, damn, he's really good. And then when they showed the Space Cadet, Void Cadet, I was like, damn, only if he came by himself. If he came by himself, I don't need that big ass mech. If he came by himself, I'll snag him. And of course, they would do that on SDCC. So I'm glad this worked out. He's such a fun figure. I freaking love everything from like the goggles to the boots and all the accessories. He's an awesome fig.
Yeah, he's really cool.
Like, I've been going pretty hard this last month.
Nice.
Making up, making up.
Yeah, making up for some of the loss. It's the same way. Like I went for a while where I didn't have anything, and then all of a sudden Cosmic came in. So that's getting a huge box of figures like that after not collecting for a while. You're like, holy crap, this is a lot of stuff.
Like Christmas.
Yeah, seriously, it came with I think 13 or 12 or 13 total figures. So I've only shown you guys like a small portion of it. But yeah, they're all pretty amazing. I did, I know we're getting towards the end of the hour here, but I wanted to talk about somebody, I think it was Rad Toyologist. He said, hey, whenever you guys come back, I want you to talk about this pre-order that's going up. And I want to get your thoughts about it too, Prime. So let me...
Hopefully we made it in time. Thanks, Rad Toyologist.
Yeah, thanks for the suggestion, man. I appreciate it. But the NECA sewer dial.
Controversy.
We're
back, and we're back with controversy.
Yes.
Well, sit down, refill. Get your refills in now, folks, because we're going on for another hour. It's the extended version.
First, I want to think. What are your thoughts about this?
Well, first, I do like it. I like the dial.
Yeah.
But to me, it looks very plain, very generic. Like, there's nothing that there's no wow factor.
Mm-mm.
It just looks like, I don't know. I feel like I've seen this dial hundreds of times because there's a lot of great dial makers that have made this. But again, I've seen dial makers make this dial, but has had some type of wow factor where I'm like, damn, that's crazy. I don't know. This is just very okay.
Yeah, I mean, there's a part of me from the TMNT side where I'm like, oh man, that would be so cool to have kind of like a sewer living room kind of play set.
Yeah.
I think back to the NECA Street dial, and I felt that time like the value was worth it. And had the pricing been similar on this, I might be more willing to get it. But when you consider that this thing is $300 versus a dial that previously was $150, I'm having a hard time justifying why this is such a big increase in price.
Inflation, bro.
I mean, inflation obviously has hit, but it's big. It's when you consider the street dial was, 3 stories, it seemed.
Yeah.
And they showed
and again the wow factor.
Yeah.
Yeah. The street dial definitely had the wow factor. We hadn't seen nothing like that before. And 150, I know we're talking about $50 difference, but right there. Okay, so that street dial, the top version, 150, it's like, okay, that makes sense. Because you can even put them on the inside, you can put them on the outside, there's more. But here it's your standard dial that any dial maker can make for under. There was a lot of comments where a lot of dial makers were like, I can make it for 150, or I can do that for under 300. And it's going to be handcrafted. And, I don't know. There's nothing. Now, if it came with all the accessories, or if they threw in a bunch of stuff, I think then it would have.
I was just going to say that if it included this accessory set that was pretty highly sought after in the sewer dial, I think that would have made it way more worth it in a lot of people's eyes. But the fact that it's separate, it kind of feels like a cash grab, at least to me. And I know there's people out
Yeah.
there that have jumped on this and they pre-ordered it, and I'm not trying to knock you
Yeah.
guys. Everybody can do whatever they want to do. My own personal thoughts. The value is just not there for me. And I have seen other
Yeah.
people on the community, other dial makers that are like, you know, they can make it.
Yeah.
I'll be interested to see what the end product looks like, you know. But if it can come in less than this, you know, you might get me to consider it. It's cool that you can connect it to your street dial. I don't have any room for all of this, so there would be no way I
Yeah.
would stack it like this to begin with. But it comes with these like tops to give it some kind of like top to the dial, so it connects from the bottom to the top. One thing I think is missing here, though, is there's no like sewer manhole for them to come out of, which seems like a no-brainer thing to
Again.
add to the dial.
Yeah.
Is like, where's the manhole? Like, these are the
Yeah.
sewers. You know, it's the TMNT.
Yeah.
That's one thing that could be coming.
Like,
and
again,
then,
like,
like to your point, the accessories.
yeah. And there was a shot, I don't know where I've seen it on their page, but they had like the two dials, and then they had, and one they had the turtle van, and then the other they had like the sofas and stuff like that. I'm like, if it would have been all that for 300 or even 325, like where you can store your van and have it be like Donnie's garage or whatever, the turtles, like where they have all their gadgets and stuff like that on one side, and then like the living room on this, I think then again they needed some type of wow factor, because for a minute there I thought it was, oh, it's both pieces, but then later on that, like, oh, it's just one piece. I'm like, oh, 300 for one, like, that doesn't, it doesn't. There's no TV, right? There's no TV either. It's just the two couches.
No, the TV doesn't. Yeah, it comes with basically all of
the
this.
TV's with the other set.
Yeah, all of this here is what you get.
Yeah. See, it's missing. Like, you're missing a TV. If it would have came with the TV and like a fridge, I don't know, just it needs more. It's like two couches and the tables.
Right.
Yeah. What are they staring at? Just at the manhole, or
all of this.
They're staring at the turtle.
Right. Yeah. What are they doing down here? I don't know. They're just kind of hanging out.
Yeah.
And I don't think you're going to be able to. These will probably fit the cartoon turtles well. This couch and these seats, but I don't see a full size NECA figure. Like, you're not getting the Mirage turtles in there easily.
No way.
They're not going to be sitting down. You know, they're going to probably look a little out of proportion, maybe. So that's a little concerning. But you know, like we talked about, if this is for you guys, then all the power to you. I'm not trying to knock anyone. These are our personal thoughts. For me, it's just not there. I didn't jump on it myself, even though I'm a huge turtle guy.
Yeah.
So Brad Toilage, I don't know if we went into as much detail as you wanted, but hopefully that gave you something that you were looking for. You know, because we wanted to talk about it, and maybe we'll bring it up in future episodes, like on a live or something. Get somebody else's personal thoughts, because I know there's people out there that really like this. So, and they have more coming, right? They showed a bunch of stuff at SDCC. There's going to be a kitchen set. That's kind of piqued my interest a bit.
Oh, really?
I've always wanted the Muppets kitchen. They're making a Turtles kitchen, and then they have a Donnie laboratory coming, and they're all going to kind of connect together.
I did see that.
They're going to be individual prices, so I hope they're not all $300. But to your point, you can get one that goes here and then another one that goes over here. Like, you're going to have a full set. But I mean, this thing's already 25 inches wide. It's pretty huge. So that's 2 feet long.
How big is your basement? You know?
Yeah, I know. I can't imagine stacking all these next to each other. It's just too much. But yeah, I mean, that's out there. There's a lot of other pre-orders. We'll talk about it maybe on a future episode, but I at least wanted to touch base on that one because I had been asked about it. So thank you, Rad, for reaching out, by the way. I know you were missing the episodes. I appreciate your suggestion. For everybody that did reach out while we were gone, just really thank you.
Yeah.
That means a lot to me and Prime. I know you guys were concerned about us. There's a lot of you that did reach out, so I do appreciate that. And, you know, we're going to try, like I said, try to keep this as consistent as possible, coming back bi-monthly, to start, 2 times a month, and then doing lives kind of sporadically. We won't do some of the normal stuff. We really just want to kind of get back into the swing of things, talk about what's going on with us, the pre-orders, some stuff that we collected. So we'll probably stop there this week unless there's anything else you wanted to add on, Prime. You know?
Yeah, no, I'm good. I'm glad to be back in the booth.
Yeah, we're glad to be back in the booth. Shout out to all of our previous supporters. I know we've probably lost a little bit of steam, but hopefully you guys will come back and join us to celebrate the return of the podcast. We'll be posting this here this weekend. So make sure you guys, if you're out there and you haven't subscribed already, make sure you're subscribed to the Figure Booth. Like we said, we want to see some growth out there. We want to see those numbers start to bump up. And part of that is on us too. We got to provide that content for you. But if you like this episode, if you liked us coming back, hit that like button, leave a comment below. Let us know what you think about it. And until next time, we'll see you guys on the next Figure Booth.
Where can they follow you?
They can follow me at, man, I'm rusty. They can follow me on Instagram at figurefan_Nate. I'm on Threads, if that's a thing. If anybody cares about Threads, at the same name. But yeah, you guys can find me there. Where can they find you, Prem?
And they can catch me on Instagram, all under Prime to the First. That's where I'm most active. I'm also on Twitter under Prime to the First and Facebook Prime to the First.
Nice. Well, guys, that was episode 86. Back to school. We'll see you next time. Thank you all for tuning in.